Tonight we're talking about Reform UK's mayoral candidate Laila Cunningham, who has been subject to this week what she calls a politically motivated hit piece, which has caused much distress to her family and led to swathes of abuse online. This has even split the political right, of course, with many accusing her of being hypocritical on illegal migration and on her promises to tackle crime in the capital. Well, I'm pleased to say Laila joins me now. Of course, Laila is Reform UK's London mayoral candidate. Laila, thank you so much for joining me. I think we have to start with this because half an hour before you walked into the studio, the Mirror have released a new headline about you.
Of course.
Which we'll put up here for our audience to see in just a moment. But it says here, exclusive, Reform bombshell, disgraceful hypocrisy, Farage's anti-crime star campaign with Tory after we exposed his white powder shame. I'll let you take it from here, but what do you make of these allegations? They're saying that you posed with a guy, a Tory councillor who was basically caught, doing cocaine or something of the likes. What do you make of this? It's another smear piece on you, is it?
It is another smear piece, and I'm quite surprised, actually, because, number one, they failed to mention that they sent someone into his house. They paid him to go to his house with a camera on his lapel and bring cocaine, this is what he says, and film it, and they fed it back to the Mirror. And, you know, he was a civilian at that time. He was basically the chairman of Westminster North. No need to go after him. But it caused him a lot of trouble. He's a reservist in the army. They did a drug test. He was completely exonerated, no drugs in his body. He was exonerated by the army, taken back in by the Conservatives. This was another stitch-up to ruin someone's life, a young man's life, just for a cover piece.
Yeah, and there's a difficulty here, because I understand, and I find it very hard to attack somebody when they've just been spotted in a photo with someone. Now, of course, this was before you defected, is that correct? Yes,
we were campaigning together.
Yeah, and why have the Mirror not gone after this guy, and why have they gone after you? Why have they not gone after the Tories for this?
Because it's attack reform. You know, obviously they're scared that I could win and defeat Mayor Khan. I mean, for the first time in the bookies, I have better odds than him. The odds put me at 40%, they put him at 28%. Not really happened in the past 10 years. And I think they're running scared. You know, people aren't believing their lies anymore.
All right, well, let's go back to the other headline the Mirror wrote about you as well. I think this has caused some on the right, particularly in Advance UK, to come after you. This is regarding your mother's hotel down not too far from here. Many people are accusing your mother of running a squatters' hotel or an illegal migrant hotel, and I'll tell you why, because they're saying that there's inability to book rooms online in the future. They're saying the people in there that they may or may not have interviewed, they're just alleging this, by the way, have no idea how much they're paying, and they don't know how long they're staying for. Is there any truth behind any of those allegations?
Zero truth. You can book it on Booking.com, TripAdvisor. Maybe some platforms are not working, but you can definitely book it. Listen, it's a low-budget hotel right by Hyde Park, and it's right across the road from the Whiteleys, which is a $5 billion development. I can assure you, a migrant hotel, it would be known if it was there. You'd have security guards. She's run it for 40 years. And listen, I'm not here to be a victim. They can come at me with whatever they want. I don't scare easily, Alex. But, you know, my mum is 92. She came to the country with nothing, worked many jobs. And, you know, when she bought this place, she felt she'd made it in this country. You know, she had a business. She was very proud of it. She doesn't want to sell it. And it's run. And, you know, she was crying the other day because she's like, why are they attacking me? I've done nothing wrong. It provides, you know, backpackers. You know, it's cheap. And so... It is a big smear campaign. The fact that some random person rocked up in two nights in a row and pretended to speak to people, you know, I'm not going to give it any credence or any flame because that's just what she wants.
The Mirror have said that there's the hotel allegedly, given that there's some reviews online calling it unsafe, you own 5% of that business, which you can tell me whether you do or don't. I'm not sure. That's what Companies House supposedly shows, that you might have some responsibility to make sure that that hotel is safe for people who live there, particularly if you're cracking down or going to be the new sheriff in town, as you say.
So I own 5%, but I have absolutely no operational oversight of it. But people get robbed. Number one, I don't even know if that's true. They did quote anonymous sources. It's a different matter if there is crime being conducted by the staff. Everyone gets, you know, I've prosecuted many people who've had things stolen from a room. across all hotels, it doesn't make it actually shows another reason why I'm trying to fight crime, because there is crime happening in my mother's business where people potentially, I haven't heard of it, are stealing things from people's rooms. It just shows how rampant crime is. But I can categorically say it's never been a migrant hotel. My mum's not interested in that. And to smear it like that actually ruins her business, right? It's defamatory to the business. But listen, we're going to take it on the chin. You know, I don't scare easily, and they can come at me with whatever they want. I just say, just leave, you know, my mum out of it. We've answered the question now. And that's it, really.
Do you think there's a double standard towards the way that the press go after right-wing politicians over their private lives and over their families, as opposed to left-wing politicians?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, who the hell reads the Mirror? Do you know? I mean, everyone knows what the Mirror is. It's just a tabloid that spews hate and untruths. And so I don't even understand the point of the story. The second one, that I've been taking a photo with someone.
Yeah, well, I have to admit...
That's their cover, Alex.
Yeah, no, I have to admit, when I first saw this, I mean, I hadn't been able to read. I have read the article now, but I don't really know what they're meant to be accusing you of here, of being in a picture with somebody. I don't know how that's headline news, frankly, with everything else going on in the world, but I'm sure the Mirror disagree with me strongly on that one.
You know,
but you know, what I mean by right-wing politicians being held to a different standard, I'd like to open up to the rest of my panel here in just a second too. What I mean by right-wing politicians being held to a different standard is that Boris Johnson's private life, one of the most famous examples, was dragged through the press. His affairs, his children, there's still speculation of how many kids he's got. Now, there's allegations thrown at left-wing politicians. I won't say them on this show because that's not what we do here. But is it an unfair attack? Do you get held to a different standard, held to a different standard because you're right-wing?
100%. And listen, I value being held to a high standard. I think all politicians should be held to the highest standard possible. Ask the difficult questions, but don't lie. You know, when you get an answer, if you don't have proof, don't insinuate things that are not true, because that's why people don't trust mainstream media anymore, although the Mirror, I'm not sure it's mainstream, but they don't trust mainstream media anymore because they no longer report the news. They try and sway public opinion and they try and sway political opinion. And that's why nobody reads them anymore.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living. And maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
All right, well, let's open this up to my panel. Jonathan, being the other former MP on the panel here, you've got a bit of experience of being in the spotlight. What's your experience of headlines being written about you, articles written about you? Is there a lot of truth behind them? Is there a lot of speculation, a lot of twisting of the narrative, in your opinion?
I mean, it's amazing. I think I've seen a story once written about alleging to be someone who'd spoken to an alleged pupil that I once taught about me giving a detention to someone for photoshopping my face onto a seagull, but it was picked up via Reddit through an anonymous account, but that now apparently classifies as news, which is just completely absurd, because simply I can't say, oh, I can't rule it out, because guess what? In the 8 years I was a state secondary school teacher, I can't remember every detention I ever issued in my time. I've obviously, even had ridiculous stories where my first meeting with a Reform UK branch, that was in the Stoke Sentinel headline thing. I mean, it is a political smear campaign against Laila. She's a rising star within the Reform UK movement, a rising star within the political scene. She's going to be a fantastic mayor of London, and it's just a downright disgrace that, the crime on the second article is to pose for a photo with someone. I mean, if that's the standard we're holding everyone's going to be wanting to delete Instagram instantly or Facebook, every politician. I mean, what I'd like the Mirror to focus on is the fact that sexual offences are a record high under Mayor Khan with 27,000 cases. The fact that there's 11 shoplifting incidents happening every hour, and that with knife crime, we've seen an increase of nearly 72% since Mayor Khan came into power. Why is the Mirror not focusing on the fact that these streets are so unsafe, people are moving out of London, rather than just these ridiculous smears?
Also, Alex, just quickly, they're so focused on it. I'm solely focused on fixing crime and fighting crime. And they're so focused on attacking me, not on the people causing the crime or the people letting crime happen. That just shows where their priorities lie.
OK, yeah. Paul, what do you make of this? Left-wing press here. Do you think this is a ridiculous headline? Do you disagree with it? Do you think it's fair to drag people's past out to portray a picture of them? What do you think? And Keir Starmer obviously stopped a second Levinson inquiry, hasn't committed himself to doing it. Do you think we need to have higher standards for the press?
Well, I do believe in high journalistic standards, and if the standard is that anyone had a photograph with anyone else who's got a dodgy past, then we're all of us, I think, going to be guilty of that. So
but I must defend him, sorry. He doesn't have a dodgy past. He was exonerated. This was, again, they made a smear against him.
But you get the point I'm making. Yeah. I think I deplore utterly the kind of racism and misogyny that Laila is facing online. Absolutely. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen when I dip in is absolutely horrific, and that's unfair. That's not how politics should be conducted. If you stand on a law and order ticket, then you will be, any candidate standing on that ticket, left or right, will have their own background looked into, but it shouldn't affect their family. It should be on the policy, and it should be on the manifesto, and that's what should be under scrutiny, not the private life.
But why don't you sue the Mirror for defamation?
Well, because number one, I don't have the inclination to waste my time. I'm solely focused on building a campaign to fight crime.
But if we think they're in a long-running smear campaign, it might make sense to take affirmative action like that early on.
Well, they've accused me of hypocrisy. That could be a personal opinion in terms of a legal opinion. I was in a photo with him. It's not actually for me to sue him. It's for the person who they're accusing of a dodgy past to sue them. They might think I'm hypocritical. That's a personal opinion. It's hard to defame someone.
But the earlier story, you could also accuse them of defamation in that as well.
But they never alleged that my mother's hotel was a migrant hotel. Trust me, they looked and they tried to find it, and there's absolutely no evidence.
Who
there never has
manages your
been.
mother's hotel?
The Mirror. So
No, who manages your mother's hotel? She doesn't, because she's 92.
No, I mean, she has a team that manages it, obviously.
Internal. It's not outsourced to a management team.
I mean, my mum's hotel is irrelevant here, right? I'm not going to sit and discuss who manages my mum's hotel. The point is that someone online alleged that my mum's hotel was a migrant hotel. It never was, never has been, and definitely is not now. It is a small budget B&B, and it is her business. And she's had it for many, many years. And my mum's 92. She feels that if she sells the business, she'll die. It keeps her going. It keeps her going. It gives her a purpose in life.
Laila, how has this affected your family? Because, I strongly believe that your private life and your family should never be dragged into politics. It is so below the waist, such gutter politics.
Agreed.
How does your family feel about this?
So my siblings initially were very upset, and then they laugh at it. They're like, oh, my God, is that all they've got? My mum was upset. My mum was offended. Because she actually didn't know this side of politics. She never knew it existed. She's like, I don't get. Well, why are they doing this? What's the benefit? And so for my mum, I'm upset. But she doesn't see all these headlines.
But Angela Rayner was dragged through for the nature of her relationship with a man. That was a private relationship. The media behaved badly towards politicians of any stripe. And there's lots of examples this year, last year, where people's private lives are being poured over and put all over the tabloids.
The Mail will be different. They'll have different targets. That's what middle-market tabloid news.
The Mail
and the Sun. Look at the Sun.
No, they won't write anything about you.
No.
But they'll write things about left-wing politicians.
Starmer's donkey farm or whatever.
If there is wrongdoing and it verges into your private life, then it's fair game, right? Because if you are running on a ticket of law and order, like Paul says, I like a high standard, and I want to run by a high standard, and I want the press to investigate. All I'm asking is, don't lie. That's it. Or don't, Don't write in innuendos. Just be straight. If you find something about me that is in the public interest, by all means, you know, I'm more than happy to face the consequences of any actions I did, though I haven't. And if that's all you've got, then, you know.
Well, Laila Cunningham, thank you so much for joining me, despite not knowing what was going to pop up on this Mirror front page here. I guess good timing in some respects, because it's given you an opportunity to respond directly to this front page here. Thank you so much for coming in this evening. Really appreciate it.